Good evening, everybody. So my name is Sherry Coker, and I'm the co-founder executive director of the Mid-America Technology Alliance, which our main goal is to make sure that all of you are aware of all of the cool different user groups and organizations that are dedicated to promoting the technology economy here in Springfield, Missouri. And an event that I have struggled with trying to put together for the last 2 years at most of your requests has been a hackathon. How many of you are at least familiar with the concept of a hackathon? Okay, does anybody have because I have to admit, before working with all of you, I had absolutely no idea what a hackathon was. So is there anybody that's not sure of the concept? Okay, thank you, because that's okay. So a hackathon is really an opportunity for all of you to demonstrate your skills and abilities in an ethical way. Again, this is ethical hacking. And for our particular cause, it's for the good of the city of Springfield. Mike Bates and Tim Franklin, I got to tell you, these guys were the inspiration. And Shannon, how many of you know Shannon McMurtry? He was originally from MSU and now is over at Drury University. He's a very passionate guy, not only about computer science and security, but also about giving back. And let's just say that some other people who are very good about giving back, Annie Bush. Many of you may, if you're from the Springfield area, you may have heard the name Annie Bush. She was a Springfield Public School board member for many years. She was also the director of the Greene County Library for over 20 years. When she spoke at the Web Devs meeting, she made a comment about she brought the internet to Springfield, and it was really true. It was through her efforts at the Greene County Library that MoreNet came into town, and it had a weird name, and I can't begin to tell you what that is right now. But this lady retired and became a professional volunteer. And what is her passion? Her passion is homelessness. She worked with Doug Pitt back in 2010 to form what was called the Homeless Task Force. And ever since then, she has been dedicating her time to building an awareness and a help for individuals that are in their homeless community. One thing that I really love about really all people in Springfield, but because I love the technology community, I'm going to make it specific to all of you, is most everyone that I've ever encountered, you may be quiet, you may not be extroverted, but everybody that I've ever met has had this passion about doing something with their abilities to give back to the community. So I just wanted to give you maybe a couple of statistics that may bring this home to you. Think about the youth, ages 11 to 22. Right now in Springfield, at any given point in time, there's approximately 450 young kids sleeping in their cars, living in a tent, wondering where they're going to find shelter, where they're going to find food. And to me, that's disturbing. And when, as a parent myself, and having it be an 11-year-old, even a 22-year-old, some of you may be 22 and going, good heavens, I mean, having an 18-year-old, I still help him do his laundry, and I still help him do a lot of things. And it's very scary for me to even think about the fact that there's young people out there that have no direction and really sometimes no hope and no help. Let's turn that even to the adult population. Think about some of the veterans that are out there, some of the people with mental disabilities. One of the mental shelters that was around was closed in Springfield a few years back. What magically happens to those people? They end up again in tents out on the streets. People with drug abuse problems end up having encounters with the law. My gosh, there's so many organizations out there that can assist these people. Most all of them have smartphones. Take a look, if without passing judgment, of course, go out there and look at the people that are standing on the street corner. They all have smartphones. If you visited a homeless camp, many of those people do have phones. But what they don't always have is access to the resources that are necessary for them. So Annie Bush went to Shannon McMurtry through some, divine connections and interactions, and said, I really need some help, because you can throw a stone and hit volunteers in churches, in civic organizations, in not-for-profits that are trying to help the homeless community. But what you can't do is from year to year, as funding ebbs and flows, grants come and grants go, is identify who is able to assist which individual. One thing that Mike and Tim and I learned was that in the homeless community, or in the community that helps the homeless, you have individuals that may take young people, but they may not take male adults. They may take moms with kids, but they may not take mom's boyfriend. What if you're transgender? Believe it or not, there are some Christian organizations that won't allow someone that identifies with a, different sex than what they were biologically born. They are not afforded housing opportunities. So how can we as a technology community come together and make a dent in this? We may not solve homelessness or poverty for that matter, but if we can make it easier for these individuals to connect, not only with each other and the services that they provide, but for some young kid that found themselves out on the street one night and they're trying to figure out, where can I go in from out of the cold? So that's where Hack for Good comes from. We came up with the idea of Hack for Good because this year it's tackling poverty. Next year it might be tackling a transportation issue. We wanted to keep it open to where you all have a say into what we decide we do. So this year with Annie Bush and her homeless task force, they came up with the idea of, we need some way to not only communicate with the homeless people and let them know where the services are that they need, but we also need a way to communicate with each other. Hey, I just got a donation from Panera Bread of 4 boxes of bagels. Where can I take them to? Or I have fresh produce that's available. Where's the homeless camp this week? Or where are the individuals that we connect them to? That's what we hope this application does, that you will help us build. We would like for you to take your ideas, bring your teams together, and free of charge, and for a prize that's yet to be named but could be potentially awesome, you guys can help us solve some problems that exist within the not-for-profit community. For example, what if you're homeless and you really want to find out what shelter is available for you? There could be a series of questions, of self-guided questions that you could go to from your phone, whether it's a website that we send people to or an app that can be developed, that they can go through and say, I'm a 29-year-old white female that needs a shelter for the night. What if you have been abused? There's a Harmony House for women that have been abused, so that's going to be different. Then I heard recently there was word gets around about how giving the Springfield community is, and I don't want you to leave with the impression that, well, we're being flooded by the homeless. No, people understand that Springfield is a very caring community. So there are people that travel from locations such as, let's say, a small community as Billings or Clever or Eldon. Think of your own small town if you came from one where there's really not any shelter or options available. There are people that find rides and make it into Springfield, and they have absolutely no idea about where they can go to get a free meal, a free hot meal, or a warm blanket, or prescription drugs. So these are the kind of things that we're asking you all to form teams with on Friday. We're going to start at 5 p.m. on Friday night. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to get you excited and share the user case scenario with you about the tech requirements of what we hope this application to be, whether it's web friendly, mobile friendly, all of that. And then regardless if you stay all night, we were trying to accommodate. I just thought I was old. And I thought I wanted to go home at night, so I participated. I was the co-organizer of the very first Springfield Startup Weekend. Springfield, did any of you hear about Startup Weekend Springfield? Well, that was an event that went from a Friday through to a Sunday, and literally people stayed 2 nights in a row. I personally thought that was absolutely insane. But then I thought, well, okay, since so many people did it, we want you to know that you can stay all night, work through the evening. Some people, Mike has told me, I do my best work from 11 to 3. Good for you. I do my best sleeping from 11 to 3. So when I participated in an event similar to a hackathon, but it was for businesses, I went to bed at night and I got up the next morning and got started. So we just want you to know we want this to be fun, we want this to be engaging, and more importantly, we want you to help us help the homeless community in this town. I think I took longer than 5 minutes, but again, Here's what we need. We need you to register. We have got sponsors. We're going to have food for you. Everything that you could possibly need outside of, extra cash for every day is going to be available.
Bring your own devices, though.
Yeah, that's right, correct. Bring your own computers. We don't have those. But food, bring your own blankets, sleeping bags, and things like that. But as far as food, drinks, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're going to have mentors that can be here to support, although if we have any students in the room, we're calling this an educational experience, but it is not an educational event. So in other words, we hope to have mentors there to help you learn, but if you're coming to this event expecting to learn more about Python or JavaScript or, gee, I hope I get 3 hours to pick Mike Bakes' brain, that's probably not going to happen. You're going to get Mike to help you and Tim and other people to kind of, hey, I've written this code and I can't get it to do what I want to do. They're going to be people there to help you. But if I encourage you to come. If you're not sure, this is our first event too, and our first is going to be the best, but it's also our learning opportunity as well. So sign up. There is no harm. Give us a day, give us an evening, December 9th, and a day on December 10th. Consider that your Christmas gift to your not-for-profit community this year. It's a way for you to give back and help us create something really big. Any questions that you might have, bring your own devices.
Are individuals allowed to register? It says team
Yes.
size of 3 to 5.
Okay, we're going to change that. We originally thought, we want people to have their teams form before they sign up, right? Well, okay, mistake number 1. Don't create barriers to entry. Do not create barriers to entry. I want you to sign up today. You can form your team December 9th at 5:30 p.m. if you want. If you don't have a team, please sign up anyway. We'll help pair you up. Okay? We need you to register. Great question.
Do you have to have a team?
You do not have to have a team. We're kind of experimenting with this idea. Depending on your abilities and your skills, you might be able to join a team. Make sure that you have in your mind, this is what I'm really good at. This is what I'm really good at, because chances are, as teams start getting to work, there's not going to be enough bodies to make that application. You're not going to have a fully functioning solve poverty application at the end of 24 hours. Okay, I'm sorry. If you do, I will eat my words. Okay.
I think Jordan just said challenge accepted.
There you go. Okay, great. Yeah. So, if you do, so I want to make sure that we set the expectations for you. Okay. This is the beginning of an application. We might have to have another hack for good and continue building it out. So again, if you're not part of a team, you can make sure. Look, I know that come hang out. Figure out where you might be able to fit in. As people are contemplating, again, we want you to start thinking about how you might solve the problem and what you might do, especially for the web devs meeting. That will be the next opportunity for everybody to kind of get together and be talking about it. As a matter of fact, the whole meeting's devoted to you, isn't it, Mike? It's devoted to us, to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have something I was going to add real quick.
Come on up.
Okay.
I'll share the camera space
Yes.
with you.
So Sherry did an amazing job of explaining the history of this, how it came to be, and what we hope from it. And I just wanted to step up and just say just a quick couple technical details that you might be wondering about. This was originally designed to be a mobile app only type hackathon. And in a lot of ways, that still is really important that it is a mobile application. But we have decided that it is going to be more of an anything goes type scenario. So if you're a web developer who has zero experience doing mobile application development, please come still build your app. We're going to work over the next week and a half to get all of the technical details in line. We don't have all of them yet. But on the December 7th for the Springfield Web Devs meeting, that is where we hope to unveil all of that, so that way you kind of have a chance for 48 hours to really mull over some ideas that you want to bring to the table. And also, that same event on December 7th will be a good opportunity to meet some other people that may not have a team yet. So if you're really looking to not just be a one-person show and meet up with some other people who also don't want to be a one-man person show, you can come and kind of form teams ad hoc at that moment. As we mentioned, bring your own device. For the most part, this will be build whatever you want to build. We'll have goals, that kind of a rubric of what you should try and achieve. And from there, we're really just looking for kind of the best idea and the most usable piece of software that can then hopefully garner the attention of, other powers in the city and move forward to become a real application after that. Nobody knows what that path looks like, so this is just the beginning of it. Are there any technical questions I might be able to answer?
I was kind of curious about some of the underlying costs that come with app development and stuff.
Sure.
Inputting things into the app store, things like that.
Yep.
Is there a fund that's set aside for that, or is that going to
There will be. So with the thing that you build, and this actually makes me think of something else, the thing that you build on December 9th and 10th, try and build everything using as many free, technologies as you can. Obviously, the real app, efforts to pushing it in the app store, getting those developer licenses, advertising, all that stuff. Don't worry about that. That's later on down the road. So really try and stick to as many free things as you can. If you happen to have your own servers that you want to host stuff up on, go ahead. But this brings me to my next point. Part of signing up, and something you will sign, will be essentially a release form that anything you create during this event will belong, to the organizers of the event. So, if this app wins and we like ideas from this one and this one, like you do forfeit, that to be the right of the groups. So
Yeah, we do want this to be a community owned, so that a way if another group down the road says, hey, I want to take this and I want to add on to it, then everybody feels like the whole goal is to build community, not, make $1 million. Although I'm not against making $1 million.
that'd be great.
We could do it. But.
Is the platform of the mobile app specific to one, as in maybe Android? Do we know what the prevalence of smartphones is in the homeless community?
So we know that it's decently high. We don't have concrete numbers on that. That's what we're going to work on finding out.
The majority Android.
We feel
It's
majority.
safe to assume that a majority is going to be Android, but it definitely should be cross-platform. There's a number of scenarios that these individuals have phones, ranging, anything from, having the best iPhone ever and ending up in hard times. Still have that phone, maybe no plan, but guess what? It has Wi-Fi. So it really should be cross-platform, ideally, and like we said, not required to be a mobile app. That will essentially be a bonus, but in the end, it will be.
And if everybody had the answers, we wouldn't need you. So we want you to put on your creative hat. If you guys can think of a better way to do it, we're going to have some technical requirements that we have to have for judging purposes.
Right.
Because there will be winners, but there will also be ideas. And everybody who participates will get a chance to pitch or obviously talk to the jury about what they have created and explain why you think your idea is the best thing since sliced bread and why we should pick it. And we don't want anybody going away feeling like, well, we didn't contribute. It wasn't picked as a winner. That's not the case at all. Everything has its place, and if a new idea comes, the people from the homeless task force are going to be around during the day, so the people that are going to be using the app have been encouraged, strongly encouraged, to be there, not at 3 a.m., but during the normal business hours of the Saturday, for you to throw out, hey, I have a question for you. Sherry, what happens if this happens? And what do you do if, do you know this or do you know that? It's stimulating that conversation that we want to have happen.
Yep.
And we need you, please.
Yes, yeah. So the website is pretty bare right now, and this is the event page, but it's hack4goodsgf.com. As more official details roll in over the next week, they will be on the site.
Yes.
And the registration link is there as well. And you can also go to Eventbrite and just search Hack for Good.
Do you guys know Tim and Mike fairly well? Do you trust them? If you trust them, sign up. Seriously,
Please.
we will make this fun. We will make this work worthwhile, and I just can't thank you enough. You will have my eternal gratitude.
And if that isn't enticing enough, we will be giving away T-shirts. So
That's very true.
Yeah, I'll mention that.
Oh, that's good.
T-shirts, yeah. Yeah,
Free T-shirts, free beer, free drinks, free pizza, free coffee, free cinnamon rolls. I'm going to push to make that happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah. And so again, I'm Sherry Coker. Look me up. I'm a member of the Meetup group. If you have questions that I can answer, if you have worked for a company that you think, my gosh, my company would love to sponsor, it's not too late. T-shirts will have to be printed sometime mid to late next week. So if you think your company might want to get involved, give us the commitment now, and we'll get your logo on the T-shirt and we'll make it happen.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I did
we've
take
eaten up a ton of time. Are you guys going
Yes.
out tonight?
Sorry.
There's an optional one if anyone wants to just get together on your own. We'll be hanging out afterwards, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You can probably find us there. I'll
Thanks, Sherry.
Anyways.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. All right. So we had a couple technical difficulties too, so we're running a little bit behind, but I wanted to